But here's the thing that I need to address, and I need to address a lot of fans in this city who go to such extremes that you defeat your enjoyment of the moment, and then you try to catch up on the moment. I'm after a guy today named Philly Sports Sufferer, and I need to get a piece of this guy. This guy is the most obnoxious tweeter ever. I think his name is, like, if you know this guy or if he's listening, his name is Alex something. Alex Mix something. I forget what it was. I had it written down. I'll find it somewhere. But this guy has gone the last 2 weeks just ripping the Phillies about their offense. Oh, this team, it's going to be another one of those playoff situations where they're not going to hit, and blah, blah, blah. And today, this guy has the balls to celebrate with them. What a great team. Oh, Middleton's the greatest owner of all time. And they're showing videos of the celebration. These are the people I need to talk to today. This is what the problem is with Philly fans and Philadelphia fans in general. You guys overreact to nonsense. And I need to bring you back down to earth with this. You knew all along this was a good team. This team, did they go wire to wire with this division? Well, they pretty much went wire to wire leading the division,
You're right?
It
was close.
And all we heard all year was bitching and moaning about what they didn't have instead of appreciating what they did have and recognizing that, yeah, this team belongs where they are.
So I will say this, Mike. I am with you today. You celebrate it. It's a great accomplishment. Obviously, they haven't done it since 2011. But at the same time, I'm not going to just ignore the fact that the same issues that I am worried about are still there. But I'm with you. I'm wanting to enjoy the moment and celebrate the moment. And they are a very good baseball team. But, yeah, I'm still worried about some of the same issues.
But why? This is the thing I don't understand about people. Why worry about something that hasn't happened? Like, why? Like, here's what you know. This team is one of the two best teams in the league. Like, like if something traumatic happens in the postseason, there's nothing you can do to control that. Baseball is such that if you don't hit, and there's a streak in there where you don't hit, that's just the nature of baseball. That's not you blame the team because hitting is hard. And from one day to the next, you don't know if you're going to hit.
I'm with you, and I get it. And all you got to do is you got to get into the dance and then hope that you get a little bit lucky and all that. I do have some concerns, which we've talked about, with the left fielder. We still don't know how they're going to manage that in the postseason. Austin Hayes may be back in the lineup today, Ray. Is that accurate? Is Austin Hayes going to get back in there today, hopefully?
He could.
Yeah, he's supposed to play tonight.
Yeah, so you got to get him back up to speed. So there's still questions. But you're right, Mike. This is a very good baseball team. They should be celebrated.
We don't appreciate the good as much as we focus on not the bad, but the weaknesses or whatever you want to look at with this feeling. Of course, you're never going to get a perfect team. Every team that comes down the pike, every team that is in the playoffs, you can look at and say, well, they got deficiency here. They got deficiency there. But we seem to get the deficiency and get overwhelmed by it. It's like being in the deep end of a pool. Like we can't tread water enough. It's always, they don't have this, they don't have that. The best thing you can do is create a good team. The Phillies have created a team that may be the number one seed in the whole league. They just won a division that they haven't won in 2011. And all we heard coming down the stretch is what they don't have. And that's the ridiculous part. I'm not trying to be a fan here. I'm just trying to say when teams do right by their fan base, you should appreciate that and not harp on the other thing because you're pulled down by past disappointments. It does you no good to be pulled down by past disappointments. It's a terrible way to live.
Normally, I preach the exact same thing you're preaching. I've said to fans over and over the last couple of years, enjoy the ride, enjoy the ride. In this instance, though, I can understand where Phillies fans are coming from because of the way the last two seasons ended. It's not as if they're going back to 1980 or 1976 or whatever and saying, look what happened that year. Look how they won it that year. They're looking at the last two seasons. So it's still very immediate.
Which has nothing to do with this season.
But it does.
No, it doesn't. They don't translate from one year to the next.
It's a pretty much identical baseball team. So,
No,
of course,
it's not
the same
an
issues
identical
that
baseball
people have.
team. They're different in a lot of ways, but even if they're not different, one year does not bleed into the next. Every team has its own identity, whether it's the same personnel or not. Why would you think that them losing to the Arizona Diamondbacks would have anything to do with them going into the playoffs this year? Why? Explain that to me.
Because it's a similar lineup. So you look at how the lineup went cold last year against the Diamondbacks, how the lineup went cold in 2021 in the World Series, and it's a lot of the same players, and you just hope that doesn't happen.
But why do lineups go cold? Because it's baseball, and you can never predict when somebody's going to go cold.
It is baseball.
It doesn't mean they're bad players. This is my thing. When you put that label on them, you're suggesting that they could have done better in a certain area. This team may be the best team that represents the National League.
No, and look, I don't want to be negative at all today with this Phillies team because what they accomplished was incredible, and they are an extremely good baseball team. And I'm hoping that Red October goes all the way until November this year because there's nothing better than playoff baseball. I'm with you, but I'm just, from the fans' perspective, I do understand them complaining over the last couple of months.
See, this is what I don't get. You should know better because you have been absorbed by the same cancer. And you should know better. Now that you're representing fans on the radio, on a sports talk show, you should not fall victim to the sky is falling mentality that has pervaded over this sports fandom for a long time. You should be better than that.
It's not the sky is falling. What it is basically what you just said. They celebrated last night as they should. But you're saying they shouldn't celebrate again. Why? Because it's not about this. It's about winning the World Series. So what fans are doing right now is over the last couple of months, they look at this lineup. They look at the pitching staff. They look at the bullpen. And everything is viewed through the lens, are they good enough to win the World Series? Where could this team falter come October? That's what fans are doing because it's World Series or bust. Fair or not. That's what it is.
Okay, yeah, I get it's World Series or bust. But they're good enough. Again, like if you go into war, you got to bring enough ammo. Have the Phillies brought enough ammo into the postseason, which would be the war? Do you think that they have brought the most? Because you can't make the case that they haven't. They're going to finish with the number one seed for crying out loud.
Hopefully. Still a half game back of the Dodgers.
But even if they get the number 2 seed, what separates the Dodgers and the Phillies might be one game in the standings, right? So you can still make the case that they're the best prepared team to go into the playoffs.
I agree. And I've said this all along. I know I'm being greedy about the Phillies. I know I'm being greedy when I say Dombrowski should have done more at the deadline.
My problem with disappointing is that you're falling into that rut that I've been trying to buck against for years in this town, where people think more of the negative than the positive. I sit here like I'm a pragmatist or pragmatist, right? I sit here and I go, listen, I'm the first one to recognize when things are wrong, right? But I am also like, the only thing that I want for this city is for organizations to give the fans the biggest bang for their buck, to absorb their responsibility, to put the best team on the field because this is a large market that deserves that. When they do that, I've got nothing to complain about. Sure, I can nitpick, and I go, well, you know what? They could use a better reliever than Ruiz, or they could use a better left fielder than Hayes. It's stupid. They've done the best thing that they could possibly do to the point where they won the division, and they're going to be the number 1 or number 2 seed. How do we fall victim to what they don't have?
Because of the way the last 2 years went.
Again, see, you're falling into
what it is.
You're falling into the same trap.
Yeah, but
because that doesn't bleed into this.
But it does for fans.
It doesn't.
You can't isolate it.
If it does for fans, it shouldn't. And you should be the horse whisperer that says it shouldn't be.
Horse whisperer?
Instead, you're falling into the same rabbit hole.
I want to celebrate today, Mike. Today's a good day.
0975. I'm telling you, I'm out for Bear today. I want a piece of this guy. Philly sports sufferer, Alex McChrystal. If you know this guy, I need him to call this show. I am tired of this guy.